What's good, YouTube? It's Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with another video. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Also, check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. If you want a t-shirt, you can message me on Facebook. I got different type of logos and images. You can get any color shirt, or you can change the logo on the shirt. Just message me on Facebook if you're interested. What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a video on Sunday morning. I just wanted to have a quick, fast, fun video for you guys. And this is all objective. This is all non-biased. And this is just my opinion. I call it my analysis, but my opinion. We might not agree. We might not see eye to eye. We might not have the same top 10. Nobody's really wrong because we all entitled to our own opinion. But we can still do it professionally and we can still do it respectably. If you disagree with my list, I'm overrating, underrating, or not giving the person enough credit, let me know in the comment section below. And also, if you want to say your top 10, put it in the comment section below so I can see who you think is the top 10 players. And at the same time, let's have fun doing this. So I'm about to go from 10 to 1. So this was difficult. The number 10 spot, I wanted to give it to Cousins. I couldn't give it to Towns. Paul George was in it last year. I couldn't put John Wall because of his injuries. And injuries played a big part into my top 10. But my number 10 spot goes to Jimmy Butler. Now, Jimmy Butler had injuries at the end of the season. He had a little inconsistent at the beginning of the season. But once he started hitting his stride, once he started taking over, once he started getting back to the Jimmy Butler that we loved in Chicago, being a playmaker, being able to knock down that mid-range jumper, being able to make and take tough, difficult shots. Not only that, his ability to be a two-way player and also take over games when they need him. And he makes big plays, whether it's a steal, whether it's a block, or just hitting big shots. And since he got traded for 3 players, which were Marketing, Dunn, and Levine, they traded for 1 player and got all those players, gave up all those players and got him. They made it to the playoffs after 14 years. Even though they did add Jeff Teague and Taj Gibson and Jamal Crawford, Jimmy Butler, once he started getting on, they was hard to beat. Once he got injured, they started losing a lot more games, and their record suffered because of it. Number 9, and this is going to hurt a lot of people, and a lot of people are going to be mad because I do live in Wisconsin, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, the reason why I don't have Giannis higher is because, yes, he's a two-way player. Yes, he's a good rebounder, but he doesn't have enough move offensively. Not a great free throw shooter, not a great jump shooter, not a great three-point shooter, and his team hasn't had the success, never won 50 games. Not only that, never even got out of the first round as the best player. And with Boston only having Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Al Horford, and it was a game 7, and you have the best player in the whole series, and he couldn't even take over and win you that game, or even win the game, one game in Boston. I'm not trying to hate on him. I'm not trying to crucify him. I'm just saying Giannis still developing. He will get higher, and he might become the number 1 player in the future. Just not right now. I can't buy into the hype. I go to Bucks games, and Giannis still has significant flaws, especially offensively, that he needs to pan out if he wants to climb this list. Now, number 8, this is controversial depending on who you talk to because people think he overrated, people think he underrated, and some people like to give him a lot of praise because of his play style and his Russell Westbrook. Now, only reason why I can't give Russell Westbrook a lot of credit is because he struggled the last 2 years getting out of the first round, even against a weaker Utah team compared to other teams in the West. But not only that, Russell is a stat pattern. He goes, like I said, he knew he had to get 16 rebounds, so he went out there and basically got 16 rebounds. I got to give him credit because if people wanted to average a triple-double, they can just go out there and do it. You've seen the triple-doubles increase the last 3 seasons. More and more people getting triple-doubles, and Russell was able to average it back-to-back. His points went down. His other numbers stayed around the same. Not a great jump shooter, not a great three-point shooter, and he struggled to get his team out of the first round. Also, even with 2 other All-Stars and 1 All-NBA player, and I know they lost Robertson, and I know they have Steven Adams. That should be enough to beat Utah when you have another All-Star and they don't even have one on the roster. But matchups and play styles do matter. Now, number 7, I had Chris Paul. Now, people underrating Chris Paul because of the injuries, but if you look at how he played in the playoffs, taking over Game 5 against Golden State in the fourth quarter, closing out Game 6 to give them a 3-2 lead, helping them close out Utah, even though he missed a lot of games this season and including the playoffs, the only reason why Chris Paul ain't 3, 4, or 5 is because of injuries. He's one of the clutchest players in the league when it comes to closing games, making right decisions, and also making the right reads. He doesn't force, he doesn't try too hard, and he can pick and pop. And he knows when to get the jumper. He knows when his teammate's going to be at, and he just makes the right play. And it's amazing that he can not turn the ball over, knock down mid-range, knock down threes, but keep his teammates involved while also playing with another All-NBA MVP in James Harden and still showing that his impact is still significant because he was one of the keys to why they made a deep playoff run, and he was one of the keys to why they was able to close out a lot of games. And that's why I have Chris Paul at 7. Only reason why I don't have him higher is because of injuries. James Harden is my number 6. Now, people might think this is low, but James Harden struggles in the playoffs, and he's a turnover. He's careless. He does a lot of barreling. He does a lot of careless passes. He dribbles too much sometimes and drop the whole shot clock, and sometimes he gets stripped a lot too for over dribbling. He is one of the best offensive players. Obviously, he was in the scoring champion running for the last couple years and eventually won it this year. He averaged 30. He simplified his offensive game, only doing moves that he know he can make, like the step back 3, the pull up 3, getting the step back jump shot in the mid range, getting to the floaters and getting to the line, and obviously finishing at the rim and then transition. He simplified it, minimalized it, and that has helped him a lot. But he's going to have to add more versatility if he want to be more efficient from the field and efficient from 3 and consistently dominating offensively without having so many bad games, especially when it comes to the playoff time. He struggles, and he really, against great teams and great defenses, he hasn't really been able to carry the Rockets that far when it comes to going against the better teams in the league. Now we go to the top 5. My number 5 will be Kawhi Leonard. Now, the only reason why Kawhi Leonard isn't higher is simply because injuries. Now, he is a playoff performer to me. He had his good games, he had his bad games, he had his dominant games. He is a finals MVP, so he was able to win a championship on a championship team. He was able to help a team win 60 games last season. And you've seen the impact that he had when the Spurs only won 47 games when he played 8 games this season. They would have obviously been one of the best teams in the NBA if Kawhi Leonard was healthy. They would have been a 55, 60 win team also. And that might gave them the number 2 or 3 seed, which would have helped them get to the Western Conference Finals. But they would have to go through Golden State or Houston to do it. But you had to beat one of those either way to get to the finals regardless in the Western Conference Finals. So at the end of the day, Kawhi Leonard, the only thing that's stopping him from getting number 2, number 3, or number 1 is that every year he has ticky-tack injuries. This year he had a significant injury which caused him to miss the whole season damn near. Number 4, Stephen Curry. Now, only thing about Steph I had was nothing. Only reason why Steph ain't higher is because these certain players play better defense. I would put Kawhi over him, but Kawhi had significant injuries. He had bad defense, but he also his defense ain't as terrible as people make it out to be. But Steph is a solid, respectable defender. One of the best offensive players in NBA history. He averaged 30 on 50, 40, and 90. Won 2 MVPs, NBA champion 3 times over, and he has a chance to three-peat. He already repeated. Now he has a chance to three-peat. He does shrink a little bit in the NBA Finals against certain teams, which really been LeBron teams, and he had mediocre defenders on them at best, and he has struggled and had inconsistencies. But I have no problem with Steph. It's just mainly defense and mainly injuries that kept him from higher. Number 3, this is going to surprise a lot of people, but Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis has been a great performer in the playoffs, even though he hasn't had that many playoff games. He was able to get out of the first round. He was able to be an elite defender, all NBA defensive, all NBA first team for centers, can give you 28 and 30 and 10 damn near every night, efficient from the field, efficient from the jump shot, great free throw shooter, can handle the ball, can block shots, get steals, and now he can shoot the three. There's nothing that he really can't do besides shoot a three at a higher level. And other than that, I have no problem with Anthony Davis. The biggest problem with Anthony Davis is his team success. And that's not really his fault because he's not the general manager. He's not the owner. His job is to go out there and try to help his team win. And he's been able to be one of the most dominant players I have ever seen, especially these last 2 years. And his health is no longer a concern because he played 75 games the last 2 years. So the biggest problem with Anthony Davis is he's not having the team success, which I can't really blame him, but that does play a factor when you seeing the player as dominant. But he does need more help. And once he gets that more help, whether he gets traded or stay with the Pelicans, once he get that more help, once he gets good fits, and once he gets the teammates that's good around him, you can see him winning MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years, and also NBA championships and Finals MVP. He's one of the best players. He's elite. He's up there with Chris. He's up there with Steph. He's up there with Kawhi. He's up there with LeBron. He's up there with KD. He's up there with Harden. They just have more team success than he does, and that's mostly because of the GM and organization. Number 2 is LeBron. Now, only reason why I had LeBron at number 2 is he did have a great playoff run and a great season. He carried a team that was bad and terrible and injured and switched up a lot of lineups, and he made something out of nothing because one minute they had this team, next minute they had this team, next minute he had to basically carry this team in the playoffs, and he got them to the finals and put up a 50 ball, and it just wasn't enough. He gave his heart and soul this season and tried to get his team a championship. He gave everything he had every single season he had in Cleveland, even bringing them their first championship. So you have to give LeBron credit, but his defense has slipped significantly the last couple of years. And on top of that, he's getting better with the jump shot, but he's losing that athleticism a little bit. He doesn't blow past as much. He doesn't finish against length as much as he used to. And his free throws is still a problem. His three-point shot is a big improvement. His pull-up game is a big improvement. LeBron has aged gracefully, but it's just time for a new king. And for the last 3 years, my number one player is Kevin Durant. He's the better post player. He's the better mid-range player. He's the better three-point shooter. LeBron proved that he's a great closer, but Kevin Durant always been a great closer, so I don't really use that as a weapon or as a pro for Kevin Durant. He is the better defender at this point, getting more blocks, better help defender, better rotation defender, better on ball defender than LeBron James at this point, better free throw shooter. Just Kevin Durant is just a flat out better scorer, and he's a better defender. Only thing that LeBron got on is playmaking. But LeBron game in the league as one of the best passers at the small forward position, and he still is the best passer at that small forward position. And actually, he's one of the best players in the league. Only thing I think LeBron got Kevin Durant on is passing. Other than that, when it comes to scoring, I'm going with Kevin Durant. He averaged more scoring too with 32 points a game. LeBron hasn't been able to do that since Cleveland. He never even did that before. And Kevin Durant is shooting 50% from the field, mostly off jumpers, and that's impressive. And on top of that, like I said, with the three-point shooting, the free throw shooting, and just overall defense and effort and energy, I got to give him to Kevin Durant. And he's the two-time champion, two-time Finals MVP. Obviously, LeBron got him beat on MVPs, but Kevin Durant took a risk joining up with 3 other All-Stars, and now with DeMarcus Cousins. Only thing that can really stop Kevin Durant from winning MVP is him not being able to put up the numbers, because now he played with so much talent, especially in that starting lineup. They don't need him to put up those numbers, and that has hurted him winning MVPs by going to Golden State, but it has also gave him 2 championships and 2 Finals MVPs, something he hasn't been able to do in his whole entire career, and he had to sacrifice getting MVPs for getting championships, and that's a thing that a lot of great players, a lot of Hall of Famers, and current players in the league would do right now. If I can win the MVP, that's great. If I can win both, that's better. But if I had to sacrifice playing with Steph, Clay, and Draymond, and now DeMarcus Cousins, and I won't be able to win the MVP, oh well. I'd rather do a three-peat and win 3 MVPs, Finals MVPs in their championship. And he has a chance to win MVP this year, but he has to be dominant. He has to put up the numbers and also have to put up the wins. And if he's able to do that, maybe he gets another MVP. But I doubt it. With so much offense and so much talent and so much unselfishness, it's going to be hard for him to win an MVP in the season, and that's something that LeBron will always have over him is that MVP. But the Finals MVP is almost tied with LeBron having 3 and Kevin Durant having a huge opportunity to get 3, and also it's better because he three-peated, which is hard to do. As you seen, they was down 3-2 to the Rockets. So if he's able to three-peat and win the Finals MVP, he's going to be creeping up even more on LeBron for the best of the generation, which is the 2010s. And I still think he still could get it. He's only 29. He's not even 30 until September, and even then the season will begin ready to start, and he has another chance to win another championship in the Finals MVP, which will put him in conversation as one of the greatest of all time. And like I said, he will still have 3 to 5 years, maybe even more than that, the way players aging and the way players got technology to still stay in the game and play at a league level. And if he's playing with this type of talent, he may even can win more rings than LeBron, which will add that even to more fuel to the fire of LeBron not being the best player of the generation. And it might just be Kevin Durant, but we have to see. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description in the comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link will be in the description comment section below. If you want a t-shirt, message me on Facebook. I can get you one sent out and made. You can have any color shirt, any color logo. Just let me know the logo you want. Let me know the color of the shirt you want. And message me on Facebook and I can get it sent out to you. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis signing out. Let me know if you agree, do you disagree, or let me just see your top 10 and we can debate, we can have fun, or you can just share me your list. And just like I shared you mine, I'm gone.